Ichimon Japan is made possible by Patreon support. If you would like to make sure that we can keep bringing you more content like this, then head on over to japankyo.com/Patreon and sign up for as little as $1 a month.
Going back to the mascot thing, do you think you could get away with having like 10 Pikachus and be like, but there's only one character?
Somebody try it.
Welcome to Ichimon Japan. I'm Tony.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we are joined by a special guest, a friend. Her name is Saori.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. So it's great to have you on the show. And today this is actually going to be a kind of mini episode because it's kind of an update to something that we've been keeping an eye on, a very important aspect of Japanese society.
It's a breaking briefs brief.
Yes. Yes. I'll just say it's related to school rules. We did an entire episode about school rules. I think it was episode 23, and then we did a follow-up to that. I think it was episode 27. Link in the show notes to these if you want to go listen to that. But you don't have to listen to those to enjoy this episode. Let me just get to the question. So Ichimon means one question, and every episode we ask a question about Japan. Today's question is, do students in Saga Prefecture still have to wear white underwear? So,
because all the viewers want to know this.
Yeah, this is, again, we only talk about the things that people really, really need to know about, right?
We have been flooded with emails asking about this.
Yeah. When you look at the Google rankings for like Saga white underwear, results, it's number one right now. So, we're at the forefront of the white underwear question here.
When you search for this specific question, it's the number one result.
Yes, people all over the world, they're wondering, like, do those kids still have to wear white underwear? Okay, so... All right, so again, this is about school rules, all right? We did an entire episode, a mini episode, about this rule in certain parts of Japan that students, junior high students, high school students, have to wear white underwear under their school uniforms. And we mainly focused on a place in Shizuoka Prefecture. This time, we're going to be talking about Saga Prefecture. So on March 24th, the school board in the Board of Education in Saga Prefecture announced that they weren't, I think it was for the next school year, which starts in April, they weren't going to be having students required to wear white underwear anymore. So if you're not aware, some schools in Japan, not a small amount, sometimes have students do things that don't really make sense to us.
Or to them.
And, or to them, yeah, or to them. And one of these rules... And one of these rules happens to be in some schools is that students have to wear white underwear under their uniforms. And of course, that made us instantly ask, like, so how do they check this? But
we still don't know that.
We're not. I read in one article that sometimes they'll do like a bra check, so they'll have the bra strap check for female students. Yeah, yeah, I've read that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
At least in the school I'm at, I think parents would immediately complain. Like, we'd have protests out front.
So I don't know how widespread that is, but I have heard that, I have read that has happened in Japanese schools.
That just means you have a white strap. The bra itself could still be any color.
It's true. And another way that they might check is perhaps while students are changing for, their PE uniforms, right? So maybe, a teacher might peek in or something, I guess. But anyway, what we learned in the previous episode of this was that a lot of teachers wouldn't even bother because they felt awkward doing this, right? They wouldn't literally check because if you have a male teacher like saying like, "Hey, I saw your bra," like that's weird, right? Like they could get in trouble for that. So.
Yeah.
Which again raises the question. Yeah,
while I was spying on you in the changing room, I noticed your underwear the wrong color.
Oh.
It again raises the question of like, why even do it if you don't need this rule? If you're not, the teacher can't enforce it, then why? But Anyway.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I don't know if my school doesn't have this rule or not, but we definitely don't enforce it if it exists on paper.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, because this happened at a public school, right?
Yeah, these are public
Yeah.
schools.
Right.
We're only talking about public schools. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So it still, in some way or another, these rules are still around Japan. Maybe they're
Right,
not
right,
super,
right.
super common, but they're enough where it's only been a few months since the last time that we talked about this. And again, we got a story about this. But this time it's good news because Saga has announced that the schools in their prefecture that were doing this, I think it was like 40 something schools.
46.
They're not gonna do this anymore. So good news.
Good.
I do gotta wonder, so there was actually some meeting of teachers and principals. Was there actually someone passionately defending the white underwear rule? Like, no, we'll have chaos if we get rid of this. And he was just like
I don't know.
overruled?
I don't know that. But there were other rules that were also gotten rid of. They got rid of them after this decision. For example, there's some rules about hair color, right? Like if your hair is not black, some places in Japan, some schools in Japan made students either submit an application saying that they were born with hair that is not black, or they made them dye their hair, right? Same for kids with curly hair. They either had to provide some sort of proof that their hair was born like that, or that they I don't know. They had to basically say it's natural. But a couple of schools that were doing this, they're not going to do this anymore. Here's a really weird one. Or maybe not weird, but just funny to me. Apparently, a couple of schools had a rule that said students cannot have bags with more than one mascot accessory on it.
So non-mascot accessories, any number is okay.
Yeah. So I guess if they have some kind of keychain with some sort of like Hello Kitty or something, if it's one, it's okay. Two, no good.
So
Right?
like Kumamon and Pikachu are not friends. They will not be on the same bag.
Nope.
You
No,
gotta pick. You gotta pick just
either
one.
you're with Kumamon or you're with Pikachu. Can't have both. Yeah. Yep. But now it's okay. Now students can do this, I think, starting next school year.
I mean, I'm glad they got rid of it, but I would have liked it more if they just upped the limit. Like, now you may have 3 mascots, but not 4.
Wow.
So-
So fascinating.
Yeah. So there's all
Unless one
kinds
is
of little rules.
Anpanman. He counts for 2.
God, two Anpanman is the exception. Okay. So, progress, right? Apparently, this was brought to the attention by the Saga Prefecture Lawyer Association last year, I think. And after a review, they came to the conclusion that these schools wouldn't be doing these rules anymore, which addresses a question that Ryan, you and I had, was like, do the principals have the final say, or does the school of board have the final say with these rules? And I assume that each prefecture may have some slight differences, but the impression that I get is that each school can implement rules, but when the prefecture decides that a rule should not be implemented, they have the final override. So I can't say this for sure, but that's what this news seems to imply for me.
Going back to the mascot thing, do you think you could get away with having 10 Pikachus and be like, but there's only one character?
Somebody try it.
Yeah.
It says maskoto wa hitotsumade. Like, that's vague.
Yeah, exactly. That is very vague. Yeah, that is one character.
Like, yeah, I have one mascot. I have many decorations, but only one mascot.
Good question. I don't know. Maybe that's why they decided to get rid of the rule, because then people started trying to do that. Because, yeah, it's like 10 Doraemons. Oh my God. So anyway, so good news, good progress, hopefully. And one really important thing that in the article, it specifically said that they thought, maybe it was a school board that originally said this. I think it was a representative of the school board that said this, that they concluded that there was the possibility that the white underwear rule and perhaps others may be human rights violations, which is a huge statement to say.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it seems like this is progress. Hopefully other prefectures in Japan will take notice and think about the rules that they have and whether they have a point, whether they're necessary or not, and maybe get rid of the ones that are totally pointless and confusing, like the mascots or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we're kind of joking about this, but this is actually a good step for progress. Like,
Yeah.
Saga is not a joke. They're the good one for doing this. The joke are the ones who have not done this.
Yeah, exactly. So, Saudi, since we have somebody that went to Japanese schools in Japan and you were in Osaka, I have to ask you here, can you think of any rules while you were growing up that made you think, like, why do they make us do this?
Yeah, I guess something similar to this. In the elementary school that I went to, we were not allowed to wear hair ties that were not red. It had to be red.
Red? Was red like
Yeah.
your school color?
No. No. It's like not even. That's strange.
Yeah.
It's like, but our hair color, well, we weren't allowed to dye it, of course. So most Japanese school kids, it's either like dark brown or like black.
Yeah,
And if it was longer than your, like if it's longer than like shoulder length, then you had to tie it.
Really?
And it had to be a red hair tie, which is super weird. And then I also had to wear this specific like type of white socks, like ankle length white socks that school like chose. And that was the only socks that we could wear.
That is interesting, because I think one of the rules we found before we did this was one school like forbid ponytails, but it sounds like your school kind of enforced
that's
them.
true. Yeah, one rule that we found, forbade ponytails.
What?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think, I don't know if this was in the episode, but I kind of concluded because they don't want the girls showing the nape of the neck, the unaji, right? Because that's in Japanese culture, that's thought to be kind of, I don't know, erotic or something, right?
Oh, I see.
That was just my kind of conclusion, but I don't know that that's actually true. But somewhere in Japan, there was at least one school that prohibited ponytails at one point. So I don't know. Yeah.
See, they're not even consistent with each other, like across the schools.
True.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There's probably some school that's like any hair tie may be any color except red.
Yeah. Because I mean, private schools, they can make up whatever rules they want to come up with. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, private school is a different thing, but like for example, I think it was in the article about this one, the Saga Prefecture one. There was a mention of a rule where the kurobushi, which is like the ankle bone, right? Like it had to be covered. So that reminded me of your
It's
your
obscene if you can see that.
Yeah.
You can't show the ankle bone. It's like, ooh, too much. Yeah. And there was another rule where it was like your hair had to be tied or it had to be braided, mitsuami, right? It had to be braided. So I think they got rid of that rule as well. So there's tons of like these hairstyling rules as well.
Yeah.
My school, I know there's no hair dye allowed, but
Oh, yeah, that wasn't allowed in my school either.
at least from the students I've looked at, there doesn't seem to be any particular haircut rules. Because we have ponytails, we have long hair, we have tied up hair. I started looking specifically after we did this episode, because when I heard the ponytail thing, I was like, I'm pretty sure my kids have those.
Yeah.
And we had one girl in the dance club, I remember, who had extremely long hair, like down to her waist.
Oh, wow.
And it was not like tied up or anything, and no one ever complained about that, so...
Oh, okay.
I think we're more lax about that, at least.
Saudi, can I ask you, did you ever dye your hair?
Not until I graduated from high school.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically
Next day, then?
most. Yeah,
Pretty much,
basically like everyone.
Yeah, like just like everybody. Yeah, like pretty much the next day I dyed my hair and I got
Next
my
day, I
like,
love that.
ears pierced and
Oh man.
yeah.
So you just immediately became Furio.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. That's like super common, right? The second you graduate, that's it. Okay, I can dye my hair. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And
And it's like, no
everybody
one
does
cares
it.
about that. They don't like see any issue with that. Like, Sandensei plus 1 day, now everything goes. There's no worries.
Yep. Oh, here's another question though. When I guess you worked in Japan before you went to the U.S., right?
I
Or did you
like
right after
only
did you come to
like
the US?
part-time jobs.
Oh, okay,
When
okay,
I
okay.
was like I worked in like a coffee shop,
Oh,
and
okay.
my first job was working in a Pizza Hut when I was like 16 or 17, but not like a full-time job.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because what I was going to ask was because sometimes if you're trying to get a job at a typical Japanese company, I assume some people might revert to their black hair after dyeing it brown.
Yes,
Maybe.
yes, that's a
Yeah.
huge thing. Like,
Okay.
you can have your hair dyed when you're finishing, your undergrad, but
Yeah.
once you start your job hunting, then everybody
Yeah.
does it like back
There
to,
you go. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
black. Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe once they're hired, they might dye it again.
Yeah, although,
Depending on the job,
these
I
like,
assume.
yeah, these, I think some companies have
Uh-huh.
just really similar rules. Like, you can't dye your hair or
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, some companies definitely do. Like traditional companies, they definitely have
Right.
rules like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, there you go. It seems like pretty much everybody that goes to a public school in Japan deals with some sort of rule that confuses them. So, yeah, I think every single person that I've talked to from Japan pretty much always like, there's I had to do something like this. Yeah, I was like, it didn't make sense. So, but that's what it is. But hey, congratulations, Saga students! You don't have to wear white underwear anymore. Now you can wear all the leopard print underwear you want.
Yes, I'm happy for them.
Yep. All right. So again, if you're confused by all this, go listen to our other episodes about school rules. If we have any other updates on the color of Japanese students' underwear, we might do another follow up. So
There will be updates. Just wait.
yeah, this is the number one podcast for Japanese student underwear color updates. So I think we're
We
making a
found
name
our
for
niche,
ourselves.
and we're just like sticking with it.
Yep, exactly. All right. Thank you, Saori. Saori will be back for an episode we will be releasing very soon. And thank you for joining us for this one, Saori.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
See y'all next time.